Our client is an investor, and most of his portfolio is based in the F&B industry. He wants to open a coffee shop in a local airport in the south of France, and he has come to us to advise him on that matter.
Okay, so thank you so much for the information. And just to make sure I got it all, our client is an investor, and most of his portfolio is based in the F&B industry. And he's looking to open up a coffee shop in an airport in the south of France, and he has come to us for advice on whether to do this or not.
Sure.
Okay, great. And just before I dive in and lay out the framework, I would like to lay out a couple of clarifying questions, if that's okay.
Of course.
So for my first clarifying question, I would like to know more about our client's objective. Is there a specific financial goal he's targeting?
Yes, so our client aims to break even on an initial investment in less than 5 years.
Okay, less than 5 years. So the main goal is just financial and to break even within 5 years.
Correct.
Okay, great. And for my second clarifying question, I would like to know more about this airport. First of all, are we going to be opening the coffee shop, maybe on the arrivals or on the departures? Do you have any information?
Yeah, so we're gonna be opening it in the departure section of the airport.
Okay, departures. And do we have any information on the competitive landscape in that area? Are there any other coffee shops currently?
There are currently no competitors to this coffee shop.
Okay, no competitors. Okay, great, thank you. So I think I'm ready to head into the case. Is it okay if I just take a minute or two to lay out the framework and then I'll walk you through it?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So thank you for giving me a minute. And to determine whether or not our investor should go ahead and open up this coffee shop, I would like to look into 4 main buckets. First one being an overview about the airport. Second, I'd like to look into our client's capabilities. Third, I'd like to assess this venture on a financial basis and whether or not it's actually profitable. And finally, fourth, I'd like to look into the risks and any types of mitigations that we have. So starting with my first bucket, the airport overview, I would like to look into first the number of people that arrive leave the airport on a yearly basis since it's in the departures. And second, look into the number of customers that may come out of the number of people. And this will give me an estimate on whether or not it's worth it based on our customer base. For my second bucket, I'd like to look into the client capabilities. And the 2 main ways I'd like to assess this is on a financial and a non-financial basis. For our financial assessment, I'd like to look into the initial investment and whether or not he can afford it at this moment. And for the non-financial, I'd like to look into his expertise. I know he has expertise in F&B. I'd like to assess whether or not this can tie in into our coffee shop or his expertise is elsewhere. And second, I'd like to look into the coffee shop itself. What's the layout going to be? What the menu can look like? And next, into my third bucket, the financial analysis, which is mainly going to be a profitability analysis. So profits being a function of revenues and costs. On the revenue side, I'd like to look into the pricing or the average spend by customer. And for the quantity, which is the number of customers on a yearly basis. Moving on to the costs, the 2 main costs I'd like to assess are the fixed and variable costs. And this will give me the yearly profits where I could assess whether or not a break even within 5 years is possible. And finally, fourth, for the risks, I'd like to look into the main risks of opening up this coffee shop and what we can do to mitigate them. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so I'd like to start off with my first bucket, which is the airport overview. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, so for the first question, so do we have any numbers or any estimate on the number of people that leave the airport on a yearly basis, or would you like me to estimate that for you?
I'd like you to estimate that.
Okay, so to estimate the number of people that are leaving the airport on a yearly basis, is that correct?
Yeah, we can go by day if you want. That might be easier.
Okay, on a daily basis. Is it okay if I just take a couple of moments just to lay out the framework and then I'll walk you through it?
Of course.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for giving me a moment. And to estimate the number of people that are leaving the airport on a daily basis, I'd like to first look into the number of runways available at the airport. And second, the number of planes leaving each runway on an hourly basis. And this will give me the total number of planes leaving per hour. And then third, I'd like to look into the capacity per plane. And fourth, occupancy rate on average of the airport. And this will give me the number of people that are leaving the airport on an hourly basis. Then I'll just multiply that by the operational hours of the airport on a daily basis, where I'll finally reach the final number, which is the number of people leaving.
Okay, that sounds like a perfect framework. It's gonna be approached in a bit more of a simple way. So we have 3 outgoing flights per day, so 3 departure flights per day. Our plane capacity is 100 passengers per plane with an occupancy rate of 80% on average.
Okay, sounds great. So 3 planes leaving per day with a capacity of 100 per plane with an average occupancy rate of 80%.
Correct.
Okay, great. So with the capacity of 100 and occupancy rate of 80%, that means on average we have 80 people per plane. And given that we have 3 planes per day, so 80 multiplied by 3 will give us a total number of people per day, which is just 240.
Correct.
So would you want me to estimate that or round that up to a monthly basis, or should we just keep it on a daily basis?
We can keep it on a daily basis for now.
Okay, so 240 people per day. And what I'd like to do next is just maybe jump into the financial analysis and determine whether or not this is a feasible venture. And out of the 240 people, I'd like to look into our potential customer base, perhaps looking into maybe a penetration rate of the total number of people that would actually buy something from our coffee shop. So being at airports, usually a lot of people actually stop by, whether it's for water or for coffee, maybe a quick bite. Do you think 50% sounds like a fair number?
Yeah, we can go with 60 if you want.
Okay, so 60% of people will stop by our coffee shop, so 60% of 240, 50% is 120, and just adding 10%, which is 24 to that, gives me a total of 144 customers per day.
Correct.
So now I have the total number of customers. All I need is just the average spend per customer. And what I'd like to do to estimate that is kind of simulate the menu we have, look into the different options, what our customers can order. So do you have any information on what we're looking to offer, maybe how big our menu is going to be?
Yeah, so we have 4 main items: water, coffee, a soft drink, and a sandwich.
Okay, so water, coffee, a soft drink, and a sandwich. Do you have any information on the prices and the costs of these items?
Yes, so I'll list out the prices for you first. So water and soft drinks are both at $2, coffee is at $3, and the sandwich is at $6. In terms of the prices, water, coffee, and the soft drink both cost $1 for our client, and the sandwich costs $4.
Okay, sounds great. So just to recap, we have water at a price of $2 and a cost of $1, coffee at the price of $3 and a cost of $1, a soft drink at the price of $2 and the cost of $1, and finally sandwich at the price of $6 and the cost of $4. So what I'd like to do to simplify this is maybe simulate the most popular orders that we can have. Usually at the coffee shop, typically someone would order a drink or maybe a bite and a drink. So I'd maybe categorize this into 4 main orders: a water, a coffee, a sandwich and a coffee, and a sandwich and a water. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
So since we already have the cost taken into account, I will calculate maybe the contribution of each order. So a water alone is going to be $1, a coffee alone is going to be $2, a sandwich and a coffee is $4, and a sandwich and a water is $3.
Correct.
Okay, great. And is it fair to assume an equal distribution among the 4 orders? So out of the 144 customers, 25% will order each order?
Yes, that's fair.
Okay, thank you. So given that they have an equal distribution, I would just like to add up the profit of each and then divide that by 4 to get the average spend by customer. Okay, so we have $1 plus $2 plus $4 plus $3, so that's 10 divided by 4. It gives us an average spend by each customer of $2.5. How does that sound?
Yes.
Okay, great. And given that we have 144 customers, I'll just multiply that by 2.5, $360 per day.
Correct.
Okay, sorry for that. So $360 per day.
Yes.
And would you like me to round that up to a monthly basis?
Yeah.
And are we assuming just 30 days per month?
Yes.
Okay, so 360 times 3 times 10 is going to give me a total of 10, so 10,800 per month.
Yes.
Per month. And moving on to the costs, since we've already taken into account the variable costs when looking into the menu, do you have any information on the fixed costs that we have for this
Yes.
coffee shop?
So we have $1,000 for rent per month and $2,000 per month per full-time employee.
Okay. So we have $1,000 on rent and $2,000 per employee.
Yeah.
So do you have any information on how many employees are actually running this coffee shop?
Yeah, we're gonna have 2 employees.
Okay, so 2 employees, that means a total of $4,000 on employees and $1,000 on rent.
Correct.
Our total fixed costs are $5,000 per month.
Mm-hmm.
Given that our revenues are 10,800, that means we have a total profit of $5,800
Correct.
per month. And moving on, I'd like to go back to the main objective, which is a break-even period in under 5 years. Therefore, I'm going to need a yearly profit number.
Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to assume the airport's operating 12 months in a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5,800 multiplied by 12. So 5,800 times 10 is 58,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5,800 times 2 is going to give me 11,600. Adding those numbers up, I get a total yearly profit of $69,600.
Okay.
Okay, so to determine whether or not a break-even period of 5 years is possible, I'd need to look into the initial investment. So do you have any information on what our initial investment is?
Yes, our initial investment will be $100,000.
Okay, so $100,000. And the formula for the initial investment is just dividing, the break-even period is the initial investment divided by the profit per year.
Okay.
So that's 100,000 divided by 69,600. And that's going to give us roughly around 1.5 years, or just slightly less than 1.5 years.
Yeah, correct. So our client is greedy and he also wants to expedite the process and have an even smaller payback period than this. He wants to promote one item on the menu to further boost his profits. Which item would you recommend for him to boost?
Okay, so given our client actually meets his goal of a break-even period in 1.5 years, if he wants to shorten that even less, I would maybe promote the coffee as the main drink or as the main item, since it has the highest profit per order, given that it is $2 per order and the revenue per item is actually 3 times the cost.
Okay.
So I'd promote the coffee as much as possible.
Great idea. So now our client wants your final recommendation.
Okay. Is it okay if I just take a minute to lay out my recommendation?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
thank you. Okay, great. So thank you for giving me a minute. And for my final recommendation, I would say our client should open up this coffee shop due to 2 main reasons. First of all, he meets his break-even period of under 5 years and actually gets a break-even period of 1.5 years. And second, there are no current competitors in the airport. However, the 2 main risks of opening up a coffee shop, first of all, we did not look into the airport seasonality, and this may affect our yearly profits. And second of all, I'd like to look into any future competitors that may open up and actually take our market share. Therefore, for the next steps, I'd like to look into the 2 main risks. And third, I'd like to actually look into other ventures that we may open up that may even return a higher profit, therefore even a lower break-even period.
Okay.
Thank you.
So much.